The last thing my girlfriend said before trying to sacrifice me was, "Please don't resist." At the time, I thought she was joking. I was wrong. It changed. Somehow everything changed. I can't explain what happened at Leshy Ridge. I wish I could tell myself it was a nightmare, a fever, dream, some concussion-induced hallucination. But I know what I saw. Summer knew. Her brother Sean knew. And whatever lived in those woods answered them. Worst of all, it spoke to me. Just a few days earlier, I was heading on a camping trip with my girlfriend, Summer. We met in college while taking the same environmental science course. We clicked immediately. She was smart, funny, beautiful, and kind. Before long, I was convinced she was the girl I would marry. In fact, I was secretly considering proposing. Summer told me her family owned land throughout the Olympic Peninsula. Cabins, campgrounds, private stretches of forest. One day she asked if I wanted to visit a place called Leshy Ridge, a special location her family had cherished for generations. I said yes without hesitation. What I didn't know was that her brother Sean would be joining us, and that I wasn't being invited as a guest. I was being brought there as an offering. The drive lasted nearly 3 hours. Sean barely spoke. Every attempt at conversation ended with a grunt or a shrug. As we climbed higher into the mountains, I noticed something strange. The forest looked wrong. The trees seemed faded, colorless, like life itself had been drained from them. By the time we reached the campground, the feeling had become impossible to ignore. No birds, no insects, no wind, just silence. Dead silence. Summer, however, looked delighted. "Here it is!" She jumped from the van and spun happily in the clearing. Sean followed silently. I stood there staring at the gray forest, trying to understand why this place felt so wrong. As we unpacked, Summer pulled me aside. "It means a lot to me that you're here." She smiled warmly. "This trip will be worth the sacrifice." At the time, I thought she meant effort. Not blood, not death, not me. Later, while gathering firewood, I wandered deeper into the trees. That's when I heard Sean talking. At first, I thought he was on the phone. Then I realized he was alone, kneeling in a clearing, speaking to something I couldn't see. I don't know if I can do it. I know Summer has, but I'm not like her. A chill ran through me. Before I could hear more, Sean suddenly looked up. I hid until he walked away. When I returned to camp, I convinced myself he was just eccentric. I wish I had trusted my instincts. That evening, we were sitting around the fire when something emerged from the woods. A raccoon. At least, it had once been a raccoon. Half its skin was gone. Muscle and exposed flesh twitched beneath torn fur. Its eyes were blood red. Its teeth exposed in a permanent grin. The creature stared directly at us, then suddenly froze, as though it sensed something nearby. Something worse. It hissed, turned, and fled into the darkness. Even that thing seemed afraid of whatever lived there. Later that night, Summer insisted we hike to a nearby plateau. She carried an old lantern. Sean carried a cattle prod and a hunting knife. I should have left then, but I trusted her. I loved her. At the top of the plateau, Summer began drawing strange symbols on the ground. Then she started chanting. Not singing, chanting. Sean stood nearby, trembling, the knife shaking in his hand. And then Summer looked at me. Her expression was filled with genuine sadness. "I'm sorry. I really did care about you. But this land is dying. It needs life. It needs an offering. You have to understand. Please don't resist. Everything inside me froze. What? I laughed nervously. This is a joke, right? Nobody laughed. Sean stepped forward. The cattle prod crackled to life. Summer pointed at me. Strike true. For the family. For the Sylvian. Then Sean attacked. The prod slammed into my ribs. Pain exploded through my body. The knife came down. I rolled away, just in time. And suddenly, the woman I loved and her brother were trying to kill me. The fight became chaos. Sean stabbed. Summer attacked. I fought desperately to survive. Then everything went wrong. Sean lunged. I shocked Summer with the cattle prod. She collapsed directly into the knife's path. The blade sank into her back. Sean froze. Horror filled his face. Summer looked down at the blood spreading across her chest. Then she looked at me. Not with anger, not with fear, with sorrow. And then the symbols on the ground began to glow. Her blood disappeared into them, absorbed, consumed, fed to something unseen. Sean lost his mind. You killed her, he charged me. We struggled, rolled toward the edge, and suddenly, both of us went over. I thought I had escaped. I was wrong. When I reached the van, the passenger door was open. Inside sat Summer's lantern, exactly where I had left it at the ritual site. Impossible. Then I noticed something hanging from it. A small wooden plaque. 3 names were carved into the wood. Summer, Sean, and mine. The carving wasn't fresh. The letters were faded, ancient. My name looked just as old as theirs. As if it had been carved years before I ever arrived. Years before I ever met Summer. That's when I understood. I hadn't been chosen that night. I had been chosen long ago. Then I heard singing, soft, distant, coming from deep within the forest. I looked toward the trees. For a brief moment, I saw a woman holding a lantern, watching me, waiting. Then she vanished. But her voice remained, whispering through the leaves. You'll come back. I drove away, and I never returned. But sometimes, late at night, when the wind rattles my windows, I hear that song again, a gentle voice drifting through the darkness.